Hey there, Purple Marine 81 here, and today I'm going to be going over a new product I picked up, and that is called Frog Lube. It is a plant-based CLP, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about its properties before I start getting into the specifics of it, and why I picked it up. Now this stuff is vastly different from probably a lot of the CLPs or lubricants that you've seen in the past. Now the reason for that is one, just its natural state, and two, how you apply this to your weapon. Get it to focus here. There's the front. This is a paste. It does also come with the liquid. I'll show you that. But here's what this stuff looks like. It's sort of like a chapstick. A lot like a chapstick, honestly. But it's solid like this when you apply it even until it gets hot. Now once it gets warm or hot, it instantly turns into like a liquid form. But then once it cools, it turns back into that paste. Now that's just the paste. This is the liquid. This stuff it always stays like this. I don't know if you see that. I'll show you a little. Just like this here. Now the differences between these two, one is pretty obvious, and the reason why there's these two different types is if you don't want to have to go through the whole process of how you season the weapon, basically, as they say, for the paste, which that process entails you stripping down the weapon, cleaning all the parts, and then taking a rubbing alcohol or something like that to thoroughly degrease everything. And then what you do is you take either a heat gun or a hairdryer and you warm up all the parts, get them nice and hot, and then you take the paste and then you apply the paste to all the metal components, and it liquefies, and then you let it sit for half hour, and it cools. You wipe off the excess with this little microfiber towel that they give you, and then you reassemble the weapon. Well, they do recommend that you do this process 2 or 3 times. Like, take it shooting, bring it back, clean it, repeat that process 2 or 3 times before they say that it's officially fully protected by this Frog Lube. Now, the difference between those two is that this liquid CLP, this is probably more what you're used to using, where you basically clean your weapon system out with something like this Hoppies, and then you just take this and lube down all your parts where you need to be. And this stays liquid like that. So this is more traditional, kind of like what you're used to, or if you don't have the time to go through all that, or if you just want to throw a little bit more extra protection on the weapon, if you're firing a lot of rounds, and you just want to throw a little squirt in there just to be on the safe side. It's kind of what that stuff's for. Alright, now that you sort of know how this stuff works, I want to tell you about why I picked it up, and my experience with it so far. Alright, now why I picked this stuff up is because I saw a video. I had heard of the product name before, but I didn't really know too much about it. So I watched a couple of videos on it, and one of the videos that I saw was by Chris Costa. He's a guy that's affiliated with Magpul. Now, he had an AR system that had somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 or 4,000 rounds through it, ran through one of the classes that he was instructing in. Excuse me. Now, what he thought was so impressive about this stuff was that he had put it on there, and he wasn't really too sure about it because of just how it looked like, because it was in that cooled, sort of semi-solid state, it looked like it would jam up the weapon really bad. But he said once they got shooting, and it got warm, it slicked up, and everything ran flawlessly. And this was after, he said, running like somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 rounds suppressed, which, if you don't know, that's very dirty because you get a lot of that gas blowback into the weapon. But anyway, he ran this stuff through there through the whole day, didn't have a problem with it, was pretty impressed with it. So I thought, he is a guy that knows what he's doing. He goes through a lot of rounds all the time. If he's impressed with the CLP, I'll give it a shot. So I did. I ordered it, and it comes in this little kit where it's got the liquid, the paste, the towel, and for some reason mine didn't come with like a little. It usually comes with like this little brush that you use for the paste there. But no biggie, I just used a cleaning brush to apply it. But anyway, I took the Glock apart, and I just did a field strip, cleaned it all out, got it hot, applied the paste CLP Frog Lube, let it cool, wiped off the excess, put it back together. I did notice that it seemed like, you know, the slide was working a little bit easier. Excuse me. Sorry guys, I'm getting over a cough right now, and it's really nagging me trying to talk this much. But, you know, I figured, oh, okay, well, you know, we'll just see what happens at the range. And I put it away. Now, I normally carry this every day. So, you know, I haven't had a chance to shoot it yet, which is bugging the crap out of me, which I really need to do because I've got some new parts on the Glock 2 that I need to test out. But anyway, after a couple days, you know, I thought, you know what, if I really want to give this product, you know, a fair shake, I need to completely disassemble the weapon, clean it all out, make sure that there's none of this left in there, and reapply this Frog Lube the way they say that you need to. So I went to do that, and what was interesting was once I started to do that, now keep in mind, all of these parts, they were cleaned. It wasn't like I just did a field strip after I fired the weapon and put that stuff on. This is already after it was completely disassembled and cleaned with traditional products, such as like the Hoppe's Elite. I didn't use that oil, I used a different one. You know, so in my mind, it was already a clean weapon. Well, because of the way this stuff is supposed to work, the reason why it's supposed to work so well is because this is not petroleum-based the way this stuff is. Now, anybody who's fired a weapon system extensively knows that once you start to get that heavy carbon buildup in your weapon, the oil or whatever kind of lubricant that you're using acts almost as a glue or a tar. Everything just starts getting sticky and gummed up, and you start having malfunctions, and the only way to correct it is to do a field strip, try to clean it off, and apply more of the same lube that you're using. At least that's what I do. Now, the reason why this stuff is supposed to be so superior is because of the fact that you're bringing that weapon system, all of the components, internal components, down to dry metal, and then essentially applying sort of like a Teflon coat of this stuff to it, and the fact that it's plant-based, that it's not petroleum-based, this stuff is supposed to repel carbon buildup. So it doesn't actually stick to the lubricant, it dissolves it and repels it. So what I noticed when I broke it apart was all of these little parts inside there that this stuff, because it was hot, had been in contact with, had drawn carbon off of the metal, or off the surface of the metal, or in different nooks and crannies that it had gotten into, that I had missed, or just simply thought was clean. So that impressed me greatly. So I ended up wiping everything down, breaking everything apart, cleaning everything out, reapplying everything inside there, reassembling the weapon. And when I reassembled the weapon, I noticed something that I thought was pretty astonishing. Now maybe I'm just a dork or over-exaggerating this, but this is something that I noticed, and if you're a Glock owner, this is something that's probably going to impress you too. Okay, let's make sure this is safe for all you guys, because I do carry this. You can't see in there. Alright, weapon safe. Now, when you buy a Glock, especially when it's new, you'll notice something every time you pull back the slide. That the spring inside here has this annoying squealing sound. And every single time you pull it back, you can hear this metal. It makes the weapon sound cheap, and it's just like, I don't know, I can't even mimic it, but you know what I'm talking about if you own a Glock. This little squealing noise every time you pull the slide back. Now, I want you to listen to something. Nothing. Not a damn thing. It got rid of it on its own. So when I noticed that, I thought, oh wow, you know, maybe this stuff is really kind of the next biggest thing as far as CLPs to come down the pipe in a while. At least that I've seen. I mean, if it can just naturally do that, I mean, that's quiet. And you can't feel this, but this slide is just it really feels like, and I haven't done a polish job on any of the internals on this, but that's what it feels like. It feels like that and then slicked up. It's amazing. So, yeah, so far I'm super impressed with this stuff. I would recommend it just based on what I've seen so far. And I will do a little bit of an update for you guys after I've had a chance to shoot it, which I really need to do because I've got some upgraded components on the Glock. As you can see, some things have already been changed out. I'll do some follow-up vids and show you exactly what I've done. I know I'm probably going to get questions about stuff like this, like the grip force adapter and, you know, all this other crap. But so I will say so far, I'm severely impressed with it. We'll see how it holds up in practical application. But I'm hoping for it because if this stuff works the way I think it will, it's going to be used on every weapon that I purchase and own from now on. And one other cool thing that I did with it too, because after I noticed the improvement in this, is this little guy right here. This is a SOG Trident. The action inside here, this is assisted opening. This really starts to hang up once it gets some dirt in there, and I noticed that, so I cleaned it out and I put some of that liquid CLP. And even in something stupid as this little freaking EDC knife, it helps speed up the action, and now the action on this is real slick. So, just so you know, it works on just about anything. I applied it to a couple different stuff. So, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them. I'd be happy to answer them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. Purple Marine 81 out.